Okay. Thank you. So here, this is previous question paper, December 2020. See here, if you see the first question, here these are small answer questions. So each question carries 2 marks. So here, if you see the first question, state and explain Kirchhoff's current law. So next, see the second question. So are you able to do the first one? Statement. What is the statement of Kirchhoff's current law? Anyone?
The algebraic sum of currents in a at a node is equals to 0.
Algebraic sum of currents meeting at a node is equal to 0. And you have to draw a diagram, small diagram. Just explain. Next, calculate the equivalent resistance between the terminals A and B in the circuit. So here, A and B terminals you have. So here, if you see the circuit. So first, how to do this one? 4 ohms and 4 ohms are in series. So extreme left, can you see extreme left 4 ohms and 4 ohms?
Yes, sir.
So those two will be in series. So 8, 8 and 8
Parallel.
parallel. Yes. Next 4. Combination will be 4. 4 and 4. So middle loop you can see 4. Left side 3 resistors combination is 4. 4 and 4 in series 8. 8 and 3. 8 and 3 will be parallel. And combination will be in series with the 2 ohms. Okay, next. See the third one. Define RMS value and peak value of alternating quantity. So RMS value, what is the definition for RMS value? You can take RMS current. RMS value means you can take the definition. You can put the side heading RMS current, and you can define the RMS current definition. RMS current of an AC quantity is that value of DC current which, when flowing through the given resistance for the same time, produces the same heat as produced by the alternating quantity. That definition you have to write. Next, peak value of an alternating quantity. Next, fourth question. See the fourth question. For the circuit shown, calculate the current I. So here, so how to do this one? I is equal to V by Z. So first you have to calculate XL. Next, you have to calculate the Z. Afterwards, you can calculate the magnitude of Z. So V divided by magnitude of Z gives the current. Is it clear for this
Yes,
RL circuit? Okay. Next, draw the no load phasor diagram of a single phase transformer. So here in transformers, I am going to cover. Next, what is statically induced EMF? So the EMF induced in a transformer is a statically induced EMF, because to understand this, you have to also understand the dynamic induced EMF. So here the EMF generated in a generator is a dynamically induced EMF. That means we are here, if you rotate the coils in a magnetic field, so here EMF will be induced in the coil. So here, if you rotate the coil, then only EMF will be induced. So dynamically induced EMF will occur in DC generators. That I am going to cover in DC generators. Next, in a transformer, so we have an alternating flux. Alternating flux links with a coil. What happens? EMF will be induced in the coil. That is statically induced EMF. So EMF induced in a transformer is a statically induced EMF, whereas EMF induced in a generator is a dynamically induced EMF, because in statically induced EMF there will be no moving parts. Rotating parts will not be there. That's why here it is called as statically induced EMF. So this I am going to explain in detail. Next, class 5 DC generators. These all will be covered in the further units. Okay. Next, see the 11th one. State and explain Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem with the help of a neat circuit diagram and their related expressions. So state and explain Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem with the help of neat circuit diagrams and their related expressions. So you can take the diagrams in the lab manual, or you can draw your own circuit and you can explain how to calculate RTH, how to calculate open circuit voltage. So the 2 steps, if you explain, that is enough. Okay, next. Take the here. See the 12th one. A resistance of here. This is about RLC circuit. A resistance of 10 ohm is connected in series with an inductance of 0.05 Henry and a capacitance of 300 microfarad to a 100 volts single phase AC supply. So you have to calculate the magnitude and phase angle of the current when the supply frequency is 25 Hz and supply frequency is 50 Hz. So for that, what you have to calculate first? So take supply frequency is equal to 25 Hz. Then you have to calculate XL. What is XL? Omega L. That is omega equal to 2 pi f. Substitute f equal to 25. Get the value of XL. Next, get the value of XC. Next, get the value of Z. So if you divide V by Z, if you do V by Z, you are going to get current. So here, calculate the magnitude and phase angle of the current. So here, this I will do and I will send you. Okay, here you have to calculate first. You have R. You have L. L means you have to calculate XL. Then you have to calculate XC. Z equal to R plus JXL minus JXC. Is it clear? Z equal to R plus JXL minus JXC. What is XC? Capacitive reactance, which is given by 1 by omega C. Okay, you are going to get Z. Z will be having real part and imaginary part. That means it will be having
under root of
here,
R square plus XL minus XC whole square, sir.
here that will be the magnitude. Here okay, that if you do that one, you are going to get only the magnitude. If I want to get the phase angle of the current, you have to do. So this I will explain, right? V I equal to V by Z. So V equal to 100. Z equal to 10 plus. So whatever Jx, let us take where x equal to XL minus XC. So after getting this, so here you have to do with the scientific calculator, or you can do manually also. So this I will this complete answer I will send you. Okay. If you calculate the magnitude of Z, under root of R square plus X square, under root of R square plus X square, you are going to get the magnitude of Z. So if you divide V with Z, that is if you do V by Z, you are going to get the magnitude of the current. So how to calculate phase angle I will send you. Okay. Next, this is also based on RLC. So here, see the 13th one. Derive the EMF equation of single phase transformer. In the last class, I derived the equation of single phase transformer, EMF equation. What is the EMF equation? Capital E1 is equal to 4.44 F N phi. So that you have to derive. Next, so remaining problems I will be doing. So see the 16th one. It is also based on finding the equivalent resistance and also finding Thevenin's theorem. Next, 17th, series circuit. So series RLC circuit. So here second unit is very important. Second and first. So you are getting more questions. All the units are important. So see how many questions. Most of the questions are covered from first unit and second unit. So this is one paper. Next, let me see another paper. So this is supply paper, December 2020. See here, see the first question. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So write the expression for energy stored in an inductor and a capacitor. So here you have to derive E is equal to half Li square, and also E is equal to half Cv square for the capacitor. So next you have to determine the currents in the circuit. Okay, I1, I2. So here use the current division rule. So total current is 10 amperes. So I1 will be equal to 10 into 6 by 6 plus 4. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, what about I2? I2 equal to
10 into
into?
4 by 6 plus 4.
Yes, correct. Okay. So define power factor of an alternating circuit and give its value for pure resistive circuit. So definition. What is the power factor definition? R by Z. So you have three definitions for power factor. It is a cosine of the angle between voltage and current. Cos phi equal to R by Z. Next, cos phi equal to real power by apparent power. So you can write any one definition, or you can write all the three definitions. Next, for a pure resistance circuit, so what is the Z? Z equal to only R. So power factor equal to R by R, which is equal to 1. So power factor is equal to 1 for a resistive circuit, because in resistive circuit, impedance is equal to resistance. So here pure resistive circuit means it will be having only resistance. Inductive reactance and capacitive reactance will be 0. Next, see the fourth one. And an alternating current is given by. So equation is there, current equation. So find the maximum value of the maximum value and frequency. So what is the maximum value of the current?
141.4 maximum.
Okay. Next, frequency.
2 pi f is equals to 314.
314. Yes. 2 pi f equal to 314. From that you are going to get the value of f. Next. So remaining will be covered in further units.
సార్ అంటే ఎగ్జామ్కి ఇప్పుడు మేము సైంటిఫిక్ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ తీసుకోవాలా సార్ డబల్ ఎగ్జామ్కి
మీకు తర్వాత కూడా యూజ్ అవుతుంది. ఓన్లీ బి నాట్ ఫర్ BW హియర్ ఇన్ బేసిక్స్ ఇన్ అదర్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్
సార్
ఆల్సో.
అవి టీటా వాల్యూ కనుక్కునేటప్పుడు ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది కదా సార్, టాన్ ఇన్వర్స్ కాస్ ఇన్వర్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా సార్, వాటికి మళ్ళీ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ అవసరం ఉంటుంది కదా సార్?
ఉంటుంది మీకు యూస్ఫుల్ సైంటిఫిక్ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ కొనుక్కోవాలి మీరు.
ఎగ్జామ్ కి అయితే అలా ఉంటుంది కదా సార్?
అలౌడ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జామ్ సైంటిఫిక్ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ ఇస్ అలౌడ్.
ఓకే సార్.
See the 11th question. State Thevenin's theorem. Okay. So next, problem on superposition theorem. So you have one voltage source and one current source. So you have to calculate the current flowing through. So compute the power dissipated in 9 ohm resistor. So for that you require the first calculate the current. So first find out the total current flowing through 9 ohms by considering one source at a time. So after calculating the total current flowing through 9 ohms, you can do I square R to get the power dissipated in a 9 ohms resistor. Next, so here 12th one.
36 వస్తుంది సార్ వాల్యూ.
Okay. Okay, I will. I have to verify. I have not done the answer. Okay, next see the 12th one. Current lags the applied voltage by 90 degrees in a pure inductive circuit. So circuit having only inductor, the derivation is enough. So next, see the 12th B. So balanced delta connected load. Okay, next you have to find the line current. So how to find the line current? Delta connection. So line current is equal to √3 phase current. So for finding the phase current, we have to do V by Z. So V per phase will be same as V line. That is V per phase is 400. Right. Next, Z. Calculate the value of Z. So Z equal to under root of 12 square plus 9 square. You are going to get the magnitude of Z. Okay. Afterwards, you can find the phase current. Phase current equal to 400 by magnitude of Z. So you are going to get the phase current. Next, line current is equal to √3 phase current. Power factor, power drawn, reactive volt amperes and total volt amperes. Reactive volt amperes means reactive power, VI sin phi. So next, see the 13th one. Derive the EMF equation of single phase transformer. So it is given in this paper also. EMF equation of a single phase transformer. So next. Again in 16th question. 16th question is again voltage applied to the circuit is given. Current equation is given. Determine the impedance. So how to get the impedance? V by I gives the impedance. So resistance, reactance, power and power factor of the circuit. So if you compare the two papers, so regular exam will be very simple. Supply exam will be hard. Always. This is a supplementary paper. This will be hard. So regular exam will be easy and easy compared to supply exam. So here is 16th B. See the 16th B. Write short notes on auto transformer. So this will be covered in transformers. 17th B. See what is magnetic hysteresis? Explain with the help of BH characteristics. So in the last class I explained about BH curve. So you have to draw the after BH curve. You have to draw the hysteresis loop. And you have to explain about the magnetic hysteresis. So area of the hysteresis loop is proportional to the hysteresis losses, or you can tell losses are proportional to the area of the hysteresis loop. So here this is the EMF equation. 4.44 F N1 phi M is the expression for E1. So here, you have to derive E1 expression and E2 expression. So this is the EMF equation of a single phase transformer. Derivation of EMF equation of a single phase transformer. So you have to start from phi equal to phi m sin omega t. E1 is equal to minus N1 d phi by dt. Very simple derivation. So today I am going to explain about the ideal transformer. So here the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer will be very simple. So first we are going to study about the ideal transformer. Then we have to consider each and effect. And here we are going to understand the practical transformer. So first we are going to consider the ideal transformer. So whose operation and phasor diagram will be very simple. If you understand that one, then you can easily understand the practical transformer. So let us take an ideal transformer. So an ideal transformer is one that has no winding resistance, no leakage flux. Second one is no leakage flux. That is, the same flux links both the windings. Next, no iron losses. That is eddy current losses and hysteresis losses in the core. Next, zero magnetizing current. That is, the core has infinite permeability. So if you here, the study of ideal transformer is used in the analysis of practical transformer. If you understand the ideal transformer, then you can easily understand the practical transformer. Now here, consider an ideal transformer with IM on no load. That is, secondary is open circuited. No load means load is not connected. There is no load means load is not connected to the secondary. That means the secondary will be open circuited. See here, see the diagram. So here this is an ideal transformer with secondary open with no load. That means secondary open. Now here we are considering IM. So that means to the ideal transformer, if you see the fourth point, zero magnetizing current. So instead of zero magnetizing current, I am taking IM. So that means I am considering only first three. So later I am going to consider only here. Understand this one. So here these 4 points are for ideal transformer. Ideal transformer will not exist. So for the sake of understanding, we are going to take a ideal transformer. That means input power will be exactly equal to output power. So that really will not exist. Input power, output power will not be equal because there will be losses. Okay, there will be losses taken in the copper winding. That losses appear in the form of heat. Okay, so here we are considering a ideal transformer just for understanding the concept. Next, here if you see the fourth point, zero magnetizing current. So zero magnetizing current means we are eliminating this one. We are taking a current ideal transformer with magnetizing current IM. See here, So there is no load connected. So output power will be 0 because output power is equal to Vi cos phi. Output power is equal to 0, but some current is required, that is Im. Okay, some current is required, Im. Now here if you see the left side, so V1 is the primary voltage, source voltage. Okay, next Im is the magnetizing current. What is the use of magnetizing current? So here it is used to set up the magnetic flux. So here Im is used to set up the magnetic flux in the core. And here as V1 is alternating, current Im will be alternating, and here this alternating flux links with the coil 1, which is consisting of N1 turns. So when the flux links the coil, EMF will be induced in the coil. So capital E1 is the RMS value of the induced EMF. Next, this flux also links with the secondary winding, which is having N2 turns. So EMF induced in the secondary winding is E2. And V2 is the terminal voltage. Now here if you see the phasor diagram, so here I have taken phi as the reference. Next, so phi occurs due to Im. So Im and phi both will be in phase. So I have drawn Im and I have drawn phi. So Im and phi will be in phase. Next, so here E1 is the induced EMF, that means voltage across the inductor, similar to that of a voltage across the inductor. You know that current lags the voltage in a inductor. That means so here you have taken V1. V1 is applied voltage. So V1 is applied voltage, and Im is the magnetizing current. You can see here the angle is 90 degrees. Next here, if you see the equation for E1 is equal to minus N d phi by dt. See here. See here. See the induced EMF equation. 2 pi f n1 pi m sin omega t minus 90 degrees. So induced EMF lags the flux. Induced EMF lags the flux. So that's why here you can see here induced EMF lags the flux by 90 degrees. So E1 lags the flux by 90 degrees. So next, similarly E2 is drawn. So here this is the phasor diagram of a transformer. This is the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer with Im, considering Im. First I am going to consider Im. Next I am going to consider core losses and copper losses. That means voltage drop also considered afterwards. So first I am going to consider ideal transformer with Im. Then I am going to consider ideal transformer with Im and also core losses and winding resistance and also leakage flux. I am going to consider one by one. So first I am considering only Im, ideal transformer with flux phi m. So here, first I consider magnetizing current I m, and I have drawn the phasor diagram. So here, if you see this ideal transformer, magnitude of E1 will be equal to V1. E1 is equal to V1 and E2 equal to V2. E2 by E1 is equal to V2 by V1, which is equal to N2 by N1. So N2 by N1 is called as turns ratio, which is represented by letter K. So here N2 by N1 is the turns ratio. It is represented by K. So K is also called as transformation ratio. Now here V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2. So here if you neglect Im, V1 I1 will be equal to V2 I2. So Im will be very small. So if you consider the exact ideal transformer, Im will be 0. So in that case, V1 I1 equal to V2 I2. So here you can see here I2 by I1 is equal to V1 by V2. What is V2 by V1? K. V1 by V2 will be 1 by K. So currents are in inverse ratio of voltage transformation ratio. So K is also called as voltage transformation ratio. So voltage, the currents are in inverse ratio of voltage transformation ratio. See here, I2 by I1 is equal to 1 by K, where K is the voltage transformation ratio. So K equal to V2 by V1. K equal to V2 by V1. So here, these equations are drawn by considering the ideal transformer. So next, so here, a phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. So ideal transformer. So ideal transformer means, so here, first one is, what is the first one? Winding resistance will be 0. That means there will be no voltage drop in the winding resistance. Next, leakage flux. Leakage flux is equal to 0. Third one, what is the third one? Core losses equal to 0. That means there will be no core losses. That means there will be no hysteresis losses, eddy current losses. Next, fourth one is Im is equal to 0. So here, phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. So here, first you have to draw the flux phasor. So flux phasor is the horizontal because it is taken as reference. Next, E2 is drawn. Next up, E1, E2 you have to draw. Next, V1 is drawn opposite to E1. Next, as it is inductive load, current lags the voltage. So here I2 is drawn by an angle theta lagging. In opposite direction, I1 is drawn. So I1 is equal to I2 dash. So we are going to learn about I1 and I2. So here, this is important, right? I1 is equal to I2 dash. What is I2 dash? So I2 dash is equal to, see here, what is I2 by I1? I2 by I1 is 1 by K. So you are going to get I2 as I1 by K. I2 as I1 by K. Or in other words, I1, what is I1? I1 is equal to K into I2. So I1 is equal to K into I2. Is it clear? See here, I am going to draw here. So what you have, V2 by V1 is equal to K. You know that V2 by V1 is equal to K. What about I2 by I1? I2 by I1 is equal to V1 by V2, which is equal to 1 by K. So V2 by V1 is equal to K, where K is the voltage transformation ratio. I2 by I1 is equal to V1 by V2. How you got this I2 by I1 is equal to V1 by V2? You know that V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2. As V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2, V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2. So I2 by I1 can be written as V1 by V2, which is equal to 1 by K. Next, is it clear? So next, so you know that I2 by I1 is equal to one by K. Now, what is I1? So I1 is equal to K into I2. So I1 is equal to K into I2. So this can be written as I2 dash. Now what is I2 dash? K into I2 is the I2 dash. So here in the phasor diagram you can see here I1 is equal to I2 dash. What is I2 dash? K into I2. K into I2 is I2 dash. So here this is the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. Next. So here next we are going to consider the practical transformer and we are going to add the effects one by one. That means we are going to consider a voltage drop in the winding resistance, voltage drop due to leakage flux, and also core losses, iron losses. Fourth one, magnetizing current also we are going to consider one by one, and we are going to draw the entire phasor diagram. So this is the ideal. This is the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer. Exact ideal transformer. Phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. So next, so let us do a problem on this. A 2000 by 20, 200 volts. So here, I want answers from you. So first, a 2000 by 200 volts, 20 kVA transformer has 66 turns in the secondary. 66 turns in the secondary. So what is the value of N2? So here, what about V1? What is V1? 2000. What is V2? 200 volts. Okay. Now here, transformer has 66 turns in the secondary. to calculate the primary turns N1. So we know that N2 by N1 is equal to V2 by
V2
V1.
by V1.
So you have V2 equal to 200 and V1 is equal to 2000. You have N2 equal to 66. We have to calculate N1. So N1 is equal to, anyone calculated? See here. So first calculate K. K equal to V2 by V1. 1 by 10. So N2 by N1 is equal to K equal to 1 by 10. Okay, here similarly, what about the second bit? Primary and secondary full load currents. Neglect the losses. So you hear 20 kVA. Here in the question, 20 kVA is there. That is the power. kVA rating. That is the power. So here V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2 is equal to 20 into 10 power 3 VA. So from that you get the value of I2. So I2 is equal to V2 by, see here, I2 is equal to power by V2. So you are going to get V2, I2. Next I1, calculate I1. So here next you can also calculate I1 if you have the value of I2. I1 is equal to K into I2. In that case also, in this way also you can calculate the current. Next, here in the question you can see here 20 kVA is the rating, power rating of the transformer. So here why the transformer rating is given in kVA? Sometimes they may ask this question. See here, the rated transformer output is limited by heating and hence by the losses in the transformer. So here the transformer rating is based on the heating. Now here you have two types of losses. So core losses and ohmic losses. Ohmic losses are also called as copper losses. Now here the core losses depends upon transformer voltage and ohmic loss, that means copper loss, on the transformer current. Next, as these losses depends on voltage and current and are almost unaffected by the load power factor, so the transformer rated voltage, rated output is expressed in VA or kVA. So now coming to the practical transformer. Now I am going to consider the practical transformer. So here in practical transformer, we have to consider every points. So whatever we have in the ideal transformer, what we have neglected in the ideal transformer, those we have to consider in a practical transformer. First, so here winding resistance is considered. Next here you can see here left side you can see R1, capital R1. So capital R1 is the resistance of the primary winding. Similarly, right side you can see here capital R2 is the resistance of the secondary winding. Next, you can see X1 and X2, which will consider the leakage flux. So some flux will be leaking in the primary and some flux will be leaking in the secondary. So here X1. So here X1, the flux due to X1 will be will not flow in the X2. So here flux. So leakage flux is considered by considering a leakage reactance of X1. Next. So leakage flux in the secondary coil is considered by leakage reactance X2. So leakage reactance we have considered. So leakage flux. Next, third one, core losses. So here we are going to consider the core losses also. So for that, so I will show the phasor diagram. See here, this is the exact equivalent circuit. Are you able to see the exact equivalent circuit? See here, left side, capital R1 is the winding resistance of the primary winding. So R2 is the resistance of the secondary winding. So X1 and X2 will consider the leakage flux. Next, coming to the core losses. So here, so core losses are considered by the resistance RC. So what is the current flowing through RC? IW. IW is the current flowing through RC, and here IW square into RC is equal to the core loss. IW square into RC is the core loss. Next, in ideal transformer, what is the fourth point? So zero magnetizing current. But in practical transformer, you require a magnetizing current IM to set up the magnetic flux. It is considered by the current IM. So this will be taught for triple E students. So for
Sir, your mic.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Sorry, sir. So here, what are the phasor diagram you are seeing? Are you able to see a phasor diagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here, this is the phasor diagram of a practical transformer for an inductive load. So for you, phasor diagram for here, this phasor diagram is enough for you. This is the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. Phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. So here, what you require is here you require the flux phi V1, E2. You can also draw E1. So here, current I2 lags E2 by angle theta 2. So here, as it is ideal transformer, theta 2 will be equal to theta 1. Both are equal. And I1 is equal to exactly I2 dash. So here, this diagram is enough for you for the exam point of view. If you want to know more about it, so you can go through this one. So this is a practical transformer. So here, the winding resistance is considered. R1 and R2 are the primary winding resistance and secondary winding resistance respectively. Next, leakage flux is considered by the leakage reactance X1 and X2. So what about the third one, core losses? We are also going to consider the core losses also. Fourth one is IM. So here in the phasor diagram you can see here. So here previously I1 is equal to I2 dash. Here I1 is equal to I2 dash plus I0. See here above 5. Are you able to see I1? Yeah, please respond. So I1. So I1 is equal to I2 dash plus I0. I1 is equal to I2 dash plus I0. And here the angle between V1 and I1 is theta 1. The angle between V2 and I2 is theta 2. So here, just if you go through this, you can understand. So for your exam, only ideal transformer phasor diagram is enough. So here, only this is enough. So what is this? See here, phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. So inductive load means current lags the voltage. So here, if you see here, below you can see E2. I2 lags E2 by angle theta 2. Now here, coming to primary current, I1 is equal to I2 dash. So what is I2 dash? K into I2 is equal to I2 dash. So I1 is equal to I2 dash. So the angle between V1 and I1 is theta 1. So here, theta 1 is equal to theta 2. As it is an ideal transformer, theta 1 is equal to theta 2. So here, very important phasor diagram. So here, this is the phasor diagram of an ideal transformer for inductive load. Now this is the impedance ratio. Now coming to impedance ratio, what is meant by impedance ratio? Z2 by Z1 is the impedance ratio. What is Z2? V2 by I2. Z1 is equal to V1 by I1. Okay. Now I want Z2 by Z1. Z2 by Z1 is equal to, you can write down Z2 by Z1 equal to V2 by V1 into I1 by I2. So Z2 by Z1 equal to K square. Now here, so based on this, I am going to write one here. This I am going to derive. What is meant by Z2 dash and what is meant by Z1 dash. First, let us have Z2 dash. So what is Z2 by Z1? K square. Z2 by Z1 equal to K square, right? From this equation, what is the Z1? Z1 is equal to Z2 by K square. So here, which is equal to Z2 dash. Is it clear? Z1 is equal to Z2 by K square, which is equal to Z2 dash. So here, Z2 dash can be called as the impedance referred to primary. Z2 dash is called as impedance referred to primary. So Z2 dash is equal to Z2 by K square. So here Z2 is called as impedance referred to secondary impedance referred to primary. Here. So here Z2 dash is equal to Z2 by K square. So here it means, in other words, an impedance Z2 in secondary becomes Z2 by K square when transferred to primary. Likewise, an impedance Z1 in the primary becomes K square Z1 when transferred to the secondary. So if you remember Z2 dash is equal to Z2 by K square, you can easily remember Z1 dash equal to K square Z1. Similarly, resistance also you can transfer. So here R02 by R01 is equal to K square. What is R01? R01 is the equivalent resistance referred to primary. R02 is the equivalent resistance referred to secondary. So here you can write down. So these are for triple students, just for understanding. So here you can understand here. So R1, what is capital R1? What is capital R1 and capital R2? Winding resistance, right? X1 and X2. The leakage flux will be considered by using leakage reactance X1 and X2. Next, RC. If you see RC is the core loss resistance. See here. So the current flowing through RC is IW. IW square into RC is a core loss. So third point also we have considered. What is the fourth point? Zero magnetizing current. But for a ideal transformer, the magnetizing current will be zero. But for a practical transformer, you require a magnetizing current. So IM is the magnetizing current. So under no load also, you require some current I0, which is equal to IW plus IM. So in the middle, you have the ideal transformer. If you consider all the four terms, you are going to get a practical transformer. This is the equivalent circuit of a practical transformer. So next, coming to voltage regulation. So the voltage regulation of a transformer. So if you see the definition, the voltage regulation of a transformer is the difference in magnitude of no load secondary voltage and the full load secondary voltage V2 expressed as percentage of no load secondary voltage. So here if you see the formula, percentage voltage regulation is equal to 0 V2 minus V2. What is 0 V2? No load secondary voltage. 0 represent no load. Secondary voltage means V2. No load secondary voltage is 0 V2 minus. So here, by the definition only, you can get this formula. So what is the definition? The voltage regulation of a transformer is the difference in the magnitude of no load secondary voltage and the full load secondary voltage V2 expressed as percentage of no load secondary voltage. So no load secondary voltage minus full load secondary voltage divided by no load secondary voltage is the voltage regulation. So if you want the percentage voltage regulation, so multiply with 100. So 0 V2 minus V2 is equal to I2 R02 cos phi 2 plus or minus I2 X02 sin phi 2. So this derivation is there. This is a big derivation. So it will be covered for triple students. For you, this is enough. The formula is enough. So positive sign is used for lagging power factor. Negative sign is used for leading power factor. So here. So based on this, you are going to have a problem. This is just for information. So these are all not there for you. So I will remove these problems, and again once again I will send this to you. Now coming to this losses in a transformer. So what are the losses in a transformer? How to reduce these losses? Already I explained you. Once again I am going to cover this one. So the power losses. Losses means power losses in the form of heat. The power losses in a transformer are of two types, namely core or iron losses. As the core is made up of iron, it is called as iron losses. Core loss or iron loss. First thing. Second one is the copper loss. Next, these losses appear in the form of heat and produce an increase in temperature. Next, what are core losses or iron losses? So these consist of hysteresis and eddy current losses and occur in the transformer core due to the alternating flux. This can be determined by OC test. Okay. Next. So here, just you have to know about iron losses consist of hysteresis losses and eddy current losses. Hysteresis losses occur due to magnetic reversals. Eddy current losses occur due to circulating currents in the core, magnetic core. Next, coming to copper losses. So copper losses, these occur in the copper winding. So these losses occur in both the primary and secondary windings due to their resistance. So this can be determined by short circuit test. So short circuit test is not there in your syllabus. If you want, you can refer. So above this, I have. So here, this is the short circuit test. So this is not required for you. Just know what is meant by copper losses. That is enough. So total copper losses, PC equal to I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2. So which can be written as I1 square R01 or I2 square R02. So R01 is the equivalent resistance referred to primary. So total losses is equal to iron losses plus copper losses. So iron losses will be constant. See here. So it is clear that copper losses vary as the square of the load current. So copper losses depends upon the load. If load is 0, current will be 0 and losses will be copper losses will be 0. But core losses depends upon voltage. So next, efficiency of a transformer. So efficiency, why you require efficiency means in the lab also you require this formula. This is very important. Efficiency of a transformer. So efficiency of a transformer is defined as the ratio of output power to the input power. So efficiency equal to output power by input power. So input can be written as output plus losses. So see here, output power can be written as output. Input power can be written as output plus losses. That means output power plus losses. So output power is equal to V2 I2 cos phi 2. Losses equal to iron losses plus eddy current losses. Iron losses plus copper losses. Iron losses consist of eddy current losses and hysteresis losses, which are constant and depends upon the voltage. So here losses can be written as Pi plus I2 square R02, where Pi is the iron loss. I2 square R02 is the total copper losses. So here for efficiency, there is a definition. So how you got this one means, so first rated voltage iron loss equal to Pi. As we are going to apply rated voltage, iron losses depends upon the voltage. So Pi will be constant. So rated voltage iron loss is equal to Pi. Full load copper loss equal to Pc. So here, if you add these two, total full load copper loss is equal to Pi plus Pc, where Pi is the iron loss, Pc is the copper loss. So here from this, full load efficiency equal to full load Va into power factor. So voltage into current gives Va. So Vi cos phi, that means Va into power factor is the output power divided by output power plus Pi plus Pc. Now here, this is the full load copper losses. Let us find the efficiency at any load. Efficiency at any load is equal to, so the load is equal to X into full load. So what is meant by full load? So full load means it is a maximum current. Full load current means it is a maximum current which can pass through this transformer. So if the current is more than the full load, means the transformer gets heated and the transformer gets damaged slowly. So here we must not overload the transformer. If you overload the transformer, there are many chances that transformer will burst. So here the current is limited to full load value. So here for any load, here the formula, first formula is full load efficiency formula. Full load Va into power factor by full load Va into power factor plus Pi plus Pc, where Pi is the iron loss, Pc is the full load copper loss. Now for any load, the formula changes. So for any load equal to X into full load. So the corresponding total loss is equal to Pi plus X square Pc. Pi plus X square Pc. Suppose X equal to 1 by 2. Then you are going to get efficiency at half full load. So here based on this, the efficiency changes. So if the current is X percentage of the full load, then efficiency equal to X into full load Va into power factor divided by, in the denominator we can see here, X into full load Va into power factor plus Pi plus X square Pc, because the total losses becomes Pi plus X square Pc. So condition for maximum efficiency, this is also not required for you. So when iron losses equal to copper losses, we are going to get the maximum efficiency. So next, coming to the auto transformer. So auto transformer. So what is the time now? So let us have a break for 5 minutes, and I will continue this one. Hmm. नाही, झाली दिग्गज election मध्ये. नाही, राष्ट्रवादीत ना. राष्ट्रवादीत. हम्म.